What's happening, guys? Some of you may know, because I've mentioned it in other videos, we are currently living out of town. We had twin baby boys, and one of them's in the NICU. He has to have heart surgery, so we're kind of dealing with that. And I don't do content ahead of time. I'm doing, whenever you guys see a video from me, it's something I've done the last few days. And I kind of like keeping things current like that, but it also totally hoses me when I get in positions like this where I can't work on anything. So this video is a couple days late. I apologize for that. And what I'm going to do is just a real brief history and maybe some pictures of the Roadster we've been building on the channel for those of you who are new to the channel or those of you who don't know the backstory. And I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope that I will be back soon. Right now, it's looking like it'll be 2 or 3 weeks. So I will see what I can do to scare up some more content for you guys. But I appreciate you hanging with me, and I hope you enjoy. It all started out at Springfield Auto Recyclers in Springfield, Oregon. It's a junkyard that older cars only, and it's a place that I grew up coming to regularly and became relatively close with the owner, Chuck. I was out there picking up some parts for a 53 Ford that I've been working on for my dad. And I looked over at the 20s and 30s stuff over in the corner, and I had always had a dream of owning a Roadster, like a Model A Roadster or something, and knew that was out of my price range. But I thought there might have been enough over there for me to figure something out, maybe put together a little custom Roadster of my own. So I asked Chuck, hey, how much for a Roadster? And he kind of looked at me funny and said, a Roadster? I say, yeah, you know, that old stuff over in the corner over there. And he said, oh, that stuff. People aren't really into that stuff that much anymore. $200 and whatever you need, you can have. So I went out there and started digging around and started putting things together and put my name on some parts. And before I knew it, I had really junkyard mocked up something that looked pretty good together. Although it was a 25 Dodge touring body front cowl, and that ran back to the B-pillars and used the doors. But a touring body wasn't really the open car of my dreams, so I had to find some rear quarters off of a Roadster. Some 27 Chevy Roadster quarters fit the bill, and before I knew it, I was looking at a car. I had designed my own car, the Oliver Roadster. And really not a moment too soon. Chuck decided it was time for retirement. The city had been cracking down, and the insurance companies had been cracking down on him, so he crushed the yard. I saved as many as I could, but in the end, a lot of really cool stuff got taken out, and the yard I've been coming to since I was 14 years old is no more. Just an empty lot with some memories. I definitely cherish the idea that I'm building one of the last cars out of the lot, and in some small way becoming part of the history of a yard that's been around since the 1950s. The last of a dying breed. It was a special yard in my life for sure, as I'm sure it was for many others. So now that I had a rough idea of what I was going to do, I had to kind of figure out how to do it. So I started at the bottom, and I made some sub rails. I started putting together a floor and tacking the body to it. Really what I had to do, what I realized I had to do, is I had to build a car as if it would have come from the factory, kind of, and then take it all apart again and start hot rodding it. So that was the journey I was on. I scored a 25, 26 Chevy Roadster windshield frame along the way, and I chopped it. You can see the door there where it got run over. That door was rough. But I chopped the windshield frame kind of near where I was going to end up wanting it. I ended up as some of you know, chopping it a little further. Then I scored a 49 Lincoln for the drivetrain. It was only $400 for the whole car, and we got it running. With the running 337 flathead in hand, it became time to pull the body off and start on the frame, and really start from the base and work my way up. And I'm not gonna lie, some vroom vroom noises were made along the way. Definitely a little pretend driving happened, but that's all part of it. So I started cleaning up, extending my subframe up into the rear trunk area, started making floor pans, really beefing the thing up, making it a car, and it really started getting rigid. I did trunk supports in the back, and then I did a custom dash. And the dash really, it mostly follows the 25 Dodge frame, but it's its own look. Started doing stuff with the steering, drop axle, drop spindles. I robbed the trunk lid off the 49 Lincoln and used the trunk hinges. So it took a little fitting because the 49 Lincoln is quite a bit bigger, but we got it working pretty good, and it actually has a pretty neat look with that ridge running down the center. I made a rear tail light panel that's recessed, and I used 1950s Airstream tail lights, beehive tail lights on it, 6 of them, and I'm gonna have that set up pretty neat. Then in 2023, I took it to the Emerald City Shakedown, first car show. I had to trailer it, didn't have a motor or anything in it. Definitely wasn't driving, but had an absolute blast, and that is a great show. It's actually a show I'm hosting the swap meet at this year. After the shakedown, the body came back off. We started putting the K-member together and dropped the motor and tranny in. And then it just started happening fast. Custom motor mounts that I built, just used the standard rubber biscuits. I used Model A torque tubes for the round part, and it turned out pretty trick. And then we started stripping down that motor, getting it primered, getting it painted. Really wanted to, it runs pretty good, and I wanted to get it prettied up and have it look the part. So I went with a kind of a teal color and white. Not going to do any speed parts at this point. It's a little expensive, but we did a conjoined wishbone rear mount with a torque arm, and then the body came back, and I slapped that body on all by myself one afternoon. Was itching to see it back on the car, and it's just like I pictured it in my head out in the junkyard that day. I fitted some steering, 52 Nash steering wheel, and then we started recessing the firewall. I did a little body work on the cowl and firewall. It's certainly not done by any means, but wanted it to look half decent because this year the Emerald City Shakedown is coming up, and I'll be taking it to that again. Had a buddy hook me up with a super deal on custom windshield, so I made my cardboard template, and it's off getting made right now. I also added a license plate mount off of a Dauphine from 1952, and I reskinned that door, made it look good. But she's loaded on the trailer. We're headed to the Emerald City Shakedown on July 27th, and I hope to see some of you guys out there. It's been a heck of a journey. Anyway, that brings us about to current. Hope you guys kind of enjoyed that brief history about the car. If you are interested in seeing more detail, there's definitely a lot of videos on the channel. If you go back, a lot of videos on the car, not from the very beginning, but definitely most of the build. Hope you guys liked it though. I'm looking forward to taking it out to the shakedown, and again, I'm sorry about delays in content and how things have been. It's just nature of life. But anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate all you new subscribers. Feel free to check out the description, because in the description I have the link for the Buy Me a Coffee if you want to help out with that. If not, no sweat. Anyway, catch you guys on the next one.